I'm the Associate Director for Marketing and Communications for the College of Engineering. I'm really excited to bring you 4 interviews today with current Berkeley engineers who took part in discovery opportunities available to them at UC Berkeley. Those opportunities included research, a summer internship, engineering scholars as engaged scholars or ES squared, or attending LeaderShape over winter break. Without further ado, our amazing students.
Yeah, I'm a senior civil and environmental engineer. I'm currently working as a tutor at the CAEE, and I'm also doing research with Professor Dames, working on a heat switch.
So how did you get involved in doing the research?
So I took thermodynamics with Professor Dames. It was one of my requirements as a civil and environmental engineer. And after taking the class, I really liked, the course material. I was always participating in class, and the GSI was a really good guy too. So I talked to him, asked him if there was any research opportunities. He told me that he would, check with Professor Dames if there was anything that opens up. And, I would, frequently go back and ask him. And after going a couple times during the semester or during the summer, he actually found a position for me, and that opened up.
And so when you asked him, were you doing things, did you do it a lot in person, go to his office hours?
It was over email for the most part, but sometimes he didn't respond. And when that would happen, I would try again, of course. But when that didn't work out, I went to his office. And I think that showed him that I was really motivated, that even if he wasn't going to respond through email, I'd try to check up on him.
So how much time are you spending in a lab?
My research, it's actually funny because it includes a lot of other classes, like material-wise. So like materials engineering, water chemistry. So I have to go out a lot of the times and trying to find people that are like specialists in that field and ask them what their opinion on like my project is and how to go about it. So it's more it's half and half, inside and outside.
What was the one thing that really interested you in this particular research project?
On a novel heat switch, and I want to see it brought to life. So he's like, would you like to work on that? I said, that sounds like something I get to start from scratch. I get to see it all the way through. So I'll take that option.
And what are you hoping to learn from this experience that you could take with you once you leave Berkeley?
Well, since I plan to go to graduate school, having research experience is definitely, good from my perspective because I'm going to be doing research when I go to graduate school. Another thing that I learned was pretty much from scratch how research, what happens. Somebody comes up with an idea, right? And then how they go about, testing it. What's their first steps? They have to prove it mathematically, get some mathematical proofs that it's worth pursuing. And then you have to come up with a couple of experiments, easy experiments, so you don't put too much time into it. And then from there, where do you go? What questions do you ask yourself? What steps do you take? That was all definitely a good, good thing to learn, definitely for graduate school. I would say if you are interested in the class, I would, you don't have to sit in the front, but, somewhere in the first 3 rows, participate, show the professor, you're interested, you're motivated. And I feel like research opportunities open that way.
I was originally born in Atlanta, Georgia, and I moved a lot. And basically I moved to the Bay Area senior year of high school. And then, so it was actually a French teacher of mine, even though I hadn't taken French at all. I was just like an office worker at the high school. And he suggested I should apply to Berkeley. And that's what I did. And it worked out really well. I've been here since 2017. I'm a junior and I'm studying electrical engineering, computer science.
We brought you here today specifically to talk about your internships and what you've done. So let's start off talking about how did you find your internship? What did it take to get it?
So there's an emailing list. I was also a part of the pre-engineering program for 2017. And so they sent out ways to apply to BlackRock. And so I applied. It was a couple of essays, and then they called us in for interviews. And there was about 2 or 3 rounds of interviews. And so the first one, it was at Betchel, and it was with Tiffany and Marvin. And then the second round was at the Career Center. And then it was with a group of BlackRock employees. And then it was kind of like round robin. And we interviewed with 5 employees in the span of 2 or 3 hours.
Do you have any tips for what you tell them to prepare for that kind of interview?
I would say, I mean, it's of course good to know like basic interview questions like the almighty tell me about yourself, things like that, and just actually know your resume too, because they look at that because they don't know anything else about you but your resume and what you submitted as your essay points. So it's important to, like, if you put it on there, be able to speak to it, as well as just knowing yourself in general and just being able to speak about past experiences, because they want to get to know you because they're going to hire you in the end ultimately. So
Mhm.
just things like that.
Like a question that you feel like you've gotten over and over again that you're like, okay, this is the one question that you need to have an awesome answer for.
I think it would be just tell me about a time where you had difficulties, and it can be as broad as that, or they could ask you like in a team setting or like even like at school or things like that. So they can mix it up a little, but it's really just trying to see how you go through a problem and just your thought process and how you problem solve, which is very important because you're going to be eventually, hopefully, like working at this company and you need to be able to solve problems.
So where did you end up doing your internship at?
I was at BlackRock in San Francisco, so
Okay.
I was a part of the Aladdin product group, which is kind of their technologies team, and I worked on iOS development in a sense.
Okay. And so what did you think of the internship experience?
It was a lot to get used to. I'd say the it's different like coming from Cal because you're all like individual focused and like, oh, I got to do this for my grade and things like that. But when you get to like industry is very different where you got to work as a collective and as a team, and like y'all all go up and down together. And so I also had like a intern on my team as well, so I had to find a way to work with her, as well as like the thing that we worked on together was going to be presented to our manager at the end of the summer. We had like reviews and things like that. So it was just making sure that it wasn't one-sided, and as well as just not being afraid to ask questions, because I know like we're expected to know everything or figure it out ourselves, but that's not really I guess realistic in the end, because there's things that you don't know, especially like coming straight out of college or even like a sophomore in college. So it's just getting used to that.
What did the internship teach you? Did it teach you more of like how to approach projects at Cal? Did it teach you more about what you're going to expect next time in a different internship? Or
I guess it taught me a lot about just accountability. And we had three, I guess, kind of reviews. So like with our manager, like an initial review the day we got in, and then like a midsummer one, and then a final. And so it was just seeing how well I progressed and how I got accustomed to a team, and being able to do the work and not being afraid to ask questions, and just yeah, it's more like a camaraderie thing, and a because it's important to be able to talk out the problems and things like that.
if anyone else was looking for an internship, do you have suggestions of where they should start looking, or what they could do to boost their resume to make it so that they're so they seem more knowledgeable or well-rounded or anything like that?
Um, I guess if you're initially looking, it'd be great to do like Handshake or so it's like an online thing, kind of like snag a job or stuff like that, or Indeed. And so you like put it in your resume and like things about you, and then like which preferences you have, like mechanical engineering or even civil engineering, and then it like filters whichever internships it feels best for you, and then you can start like cold applying to those. Um, or even they do career fairs, maybe twice or three times a semester, depending on like your field. And so you can go to those. I suggest those more than Handshake, just personally, because I feel like the human touch goes a longer way, especially like getting to like know a recruiter and just like putting your stuff on the line and things like that. Um, as for resumes, I would say keep it short, like about a page. because many people, they don't have time to be sifting through pages of resumes, and then it's more like a 30 seconds and what can you do for me, and keeping it like concise, but also not putting everything on your resume because you won't really have any talking points once you get in for an interview.
My name is Arlen. I'm a junior. I'm a mechanical engineering major. And currently I'm in ES Square, and I'm in a Black Engineering and Science Student Association. And I'm also in a Cal Veterans Club.
Oh, great. And so how did you find out about ES Squared?
Okay, so essentially I was on campus for transfer weekend, and there was like this student, he was like a superstar. He's going to like Stanford to get his PhD and stuff like that. And then we kind of like connected. And then he told me like, man, you should do ES Squared. I think he was in a program, or like he knew someone that was like in it or something. And he just told me like it would be like a crazy good experience to have. And that it'll pretty much just open your eyes to like the greater societal like issues that are going on. So like you won't really just be like, focus in on like the math and science classes that we're like typically like are always kind of like, focusing on.
What is the program about? What did you do? What is the activities that you're involved in?
Okay, so Engineering Scholars is Engaged Scholars. Like I said, it's a program in which essentially it creates a more well-rounded individual, because as like engineers, we're mostly focusing on like very rigorous mathematics, science, and all the stuff like that. This program essentially, it opens your eyes to like the impact of your work. Like I think Dr. Kadir had like a very good like phrase essentially for engineering. They teach you like how to do things, and essentially the program shows you like why you do things. And like so like the logic, not the logic behind it, but like the power players, the things that you're gonna do, and like how the impact is gonna have on the society. And then we have like essentially a bunch of like meetings, and we meet with like a bunch of different like people, and they kind of like talk about different kind of issues that are like affecting the greater society, and then how like the work that we could do could like be on one side, the good or the bad side of like that issue. And then also there's a class, Engineering, Society, and Environment, in which you like really dive into all of these issues about like how you might play into all this stuff as engineers. Like if you get a job working for like Northrop Grumman, the different kind of like industries that Northrop Grumman is involved in, but it may be good, it may be bad. It just makes you like think like, oh, why am I doing this? Like it's not just like a simple like engineering thing. And then so yeah, we do like the class, we have meetings, and then there's like the projects that you can do for the class, in which you work with a community partner in order to try to like better serve the underprivileged communities. I didn't actually sign up for a project because it didn't fit into my schedule, but then you could do that. And then also there's a field trip. Obviously they're canceled now because of the COVID-19 pandemic or whatever, but there were like field trips that were like scheduled for like the class and outside of class to the program, which you go to Richmond and all these different communities, so we like essentially can see the impact of like different like industries on those underprivileged areas.
So how has this impacted you and impacted your experience as a Berkeley engineer?
Okay, so this has been like a very like good experience because it's connected me to a lot of like people that have the same like priorities and same passions that I have. And so like it really just it's a good like networking opportunity because you get to meet different kind of like students. Definitely, it's taking like the engineering courses. I mean, I like them, but as we all know, it can be very rigorous, it can be very time consuming, very monotonous. This kind of breaks up that monotony and kind of like gives you like something else to look forward to, and it kind of like just makes you look at things from like a different perspective. I just think the program is like awesome. It has an awesome concept. It just, I don't know, like I said, it bridges the gaps in like engineering students like repertoire, because engineers were very, have a very linear way of thinking, A, B, C, D. This program, it kind of like opens your eyes and helps you develop some like real critical thinking skills, thinking outside of the box, not thinking in like an algorithm, like a computer. So I just think that it's a very, very awesome program, and I think that anyone that has the opportunity to partake in it should definitely like get involved.
My name is Mayra Reyes Cruz. I'm a fourth-year transfer civil engineering student at Berkeley, And so far, I'm involved in the American Society of Civil Engineers, the UC Berkeley student chapter. I'm part of the Regents and Chancellors Scholar Association, and I'm currently doing research about green concrete, which is something about I'm passionate about the environment, and that's related to civil engineering. So it's really cool.
How did you decide what you wanted to study? Like, where did you find that passion, especially about like green concrete?
I always been passionate about the environment, and I just wasn't sure what I wanted to study. And but I realized that I'm good at math and science, so that's why I decided to go into engineering. So that's why I started in community college. I just started as general engineering, and then that is where I decided to do civil engineering because I like just to focus like. For me, I'm passionate about helping people and just like improving the infrastructure. And yes, that's basically how I decided to do civil engineering.
So while you've been at Berkeley, how did you find out about a program like something like LeaderShape?
So I learned through that there was LeaderShape through the ESS newsletter. And then actually a close friend of mine did the LeaderShape the year in 2019. So, and then she was talking wonders about the program. And then I was asking her like, oh, tell me more. And then she was like, no, I cannot tell you. You need to go and find out yourself. So I just knew a little bit about the program. And then I decided to go. And it was a great experience for me.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about what LeaderShape is?
So LeaderShape is basically a program where you just go and learn more about like how to apply, like for me what I find out about what the program is like is learn how to know your values and principles and apply them in a professional way. Sometimes we forget what we're doing, why are we doing what we're doing. So it was really important for me to just apply that, to know my values and my principles and be able to apply them and just don't forget about them as I go in the future.
And if you thinking back about LeaderShape, what was the biggest highlight that you had from the experience?
I think the biggest highlight it was personally I wasn't in a good mental state. Like I wasn't in a good position at that time. So it was kind of like for me was that I lost the purpose of what I was studying, what I was doing, and I forgot like that this is what I'm passionate about, but I forgot that there was a purpose for me for doing that. So by doing the program, it kind of got me back to like to actually keep working on what I'm passionate about and see that it is not impossible, like that there is more people that have the same passion as you and that you share values and principles with other people, and then just to keep working and like kind of working like in a community to achieve like a single goal. And that was really cool about the program. It was a really good experience. So it kind of brought me back to life and then just excited about like continuing like with my goals.
Is there anything that you learned while at LeaderShape that you specifically been able to bring back to help you in your studies or anything?
I think something that was really cool is that they have us working at a goal that we had in mind, but we just didn't think it was possible. So kind of like all of us brought back this goal, and then we know what we need to keep, that we can keep working on it, like through like just in our studies and just like keep going and knowing that I just can like achieve that goal in the future.
What would be your biggest highlight of like, you should go because?
For me, since I was a transfer student, I know like the transition to Berkeley is a little rough experience. So like I really encourage like every student to go and just this is just a great program to find out more, not just about how to apply these principles and values to the professional way, but to get to know you better and to get to know what you really want for you and for the future. And it's just a really great experience, and it's just like amazing, the community that you're going to get to meet there, and then how everyone is just like so you find out that you are not alone, like, because sometimes you just get lost and you don't really know where you're going, but having that community is really special.
What would you want them to know about why their experience at Berkeley Engineering would be worth choosing this school?
I think besides knowing that engineering overall at Berkeley is just amazing, it's just like the education here is just like another level. And even though it is going to be a hard transition, no matter what, but just getting to know that at the end it will be worth it, and all the everything you go through, and you have a purpose why you are being here, and you have you were selected for a reason, because you can bring something to the school and you can give back something to the community.